This is the Worm V9, MoYu's arguably pretty good release and also a pretty good cube. And this is the Super WeiLong, MoYu's most expensive cube currently right now. Although this version that I have right now is actually the cheapest version, but out of all of the things that MoYu has released so far, even the cheapest version is like way more expensive than the Worm V9 that I'm holding right now. So I had this idea to do this for a while after seeing Jay Pern's video where he basically pretty much swapped the pieces from the Valk and the Valk Power to create two different cubes. And because those Valks pretty much shared similar mechanisms, you were able to swap the pieces between each other and get a different feel, although albeit lose the magnet strength because most cubes' magnet strengths aren't really standardized between each cube. So today I wanted to try that and swap the pieces between the Super WeiLong and the Worm V9. So I'm basically going to be creating two cubes. This one over here will be swapped with the Super WeiLong edges while keeping the WeiLong V9's corners and also the core. While for this one, I'll be swapping in the WeiLong V9's edges with the Super WeiLong's corners and see what that does to both if it's still magnetic and the sound and the feel of the cube. So let's get started with that. So here is the cubes all mixed together. So this one is the Worm V9 core with the Super WeiLong edges and the Worm V9 corners, while this one is the Super WeiLong core with the Worm V9 edges and the Super WeiLong corners. So this is going to be interesting. You can already see that it's not in cube shape. Interestingly, when I turn it, I can still feel the magnets do something. Like it still feels like it's still stable despite the fact that it's literally deforming right here. And I can say the same thing for this one as well. Like, I think this is like way more unstable and way faster, but then again, these were set up differently beforehand. So yeah, I think you can definitely see a little bit that this is still based on the Worm V9 just from the fact that you can still see the blue center pieces, while this one is obviously the Super WeiLong from the primary internals rather than the turquoise internals that this has. So very interesting. So now let's see how this feels with the first one. I can definitely tell that it is a mix of both the Super WeiLong and the Worm V9's feel. I think I can tell there's a bit more of the Super WeiLong's feel. It's overriding the Worm V9's feel a little bit, and the sound is more of that too, but you can definitely still hear the clackiness of the Worm V9. So I think somehow both the edge and the corner and the fact that this one is like the split piece design and this one has the cap design does change the feel and sound a little bit, but honestly not as much as I thought. Now on this one, this is faster, but I think this is a difference between the setup between both of this, because I think this Worm V9 is actually set tighter than the Super WeiLong. When I turn it, it kind of has that clacky sound, and it sounds more like the Worm V9 rather than having hints of the Super WeiLong sound. Like this sounds more like the V9 than this one. I can definitely tell the magnets are still doing something. I think for whatever reason, the normal corner edge magnets are still like compatible with each other, but what's not standardized between both of the two are the corner to core magnets, which is definitely interesting to figure out because like I would think that maybe, I guess it depends on like each unit of each cube that you get out of the factory are not exactly the same. They might be on different tensions, they might be on different settings or whatever. I guess because of just the fact that I think it's more noticeable by sound. Like they feel almost exactly the same, but I don't know if you would want to use this because obviously the core magnets don't exactly work fully. Like they're not exactly compatible with each other, and you can see it's like if I just do this, it's not going to stay in cube shape. I'll do the same thing here. Like you can see it's not going to be in cube shape. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I wouldn't recommend going out and buying both the Worm V9 and the Super WeiLong to do this, especially since that it doesn't fully, like most of the features don't work correctly when you mix all of the pieces like this. So I wouldn't recommend doing this whatsoever. But what I can recommend you guys do is, if you want to buy any of these cubes, just probably one of them, because the Super WeiLong is way too expensive. I recommend going to speedcubeshop.com and use the discount code J to get 5% off your order. Don't buy these 2 cubes just to do this or whatever. If you want to try both of them, then you could either buy them, which I wouldn't recommend buying the Super WeiLong. Maybe just try it out at a competition if you want to try a Super WeiLong. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.